It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for joining us. I am your host, Kevin McIntosh. Starting off with Halloween being just around the corner, one West Bloomfield homeowner is bringing the spooky season to life in a big way. I actually paid a visit to the Halloween house to see what's drawing visitors from near and far. Halloween excitement is in full swing here in West Bloomfield, and one local homeowner is taking things to a whole new level. This home on Hardwood Street is no ordinary Halloween display. With over 100 inflatables and handmade decorations, it's become a must-see for the neighborhood and beyond. We caught up with Amber Pilati Riley, the creative mind behind this Halloween spectacle, to ask what inspired this Halloween effort and how it has grown over the years.
Actually, my family had told me I was too old to go trick-or-treating anymore, so at 25, when I got my house, I decided instead of trick-or-treating, I would share the love of the holiday with everybody else, kind of give what I had received when I was younger. We've been here since 2011, which obviously we did smaller scale. I think we really started building up as of 2014. Every year just gets a little bit bigger, a little more. As of this year, we're up at least 30 new inflatables. So we do keep adding. I think there's 2 new fog machines this year. So, and then of course, things from last Halloween that we get when they're on sale. So there's a lot of new stuff this time around.
We also spoke with Amber's neighbors, Joe and Renee Seastat, about what this display means for this community.
So we moved in the neighborhood about 7 years ago, and this was all going on back then. And it's just grown each year, probably 20% more things. And so we've attempted to rise to the challenge. We all come out as neighbors and we're in our street, doing things like handing out hot dogs, handing out candy, doing movies, inviting all the neighbors to come together because we just love this neighborhood.
We love the fact that Amber does this specifically to help the rescue pets. She, ever since we've known her, which has been the last about 6 years, she has been passionate about fostering rescue animals, and she's our go-to. We have a lot of pets too, and she just is amazing. She's got such a heart for animals, and so the fact that she does this specifically to raise money for a cause that's very dear to her heart is really cool because people show up for it and then they get the benefit of knowing that they're actually helping a good cause.
In addition to spreading Halloween cheer, this display serves another purpose. A donation box sits right at the front collecting funds for a local animal rescue organization.
The rescues that we are helping this year is A Rejoiceful Animal Rescue, which is in Michigan in Clinton Township. We're also helping PERS Abound, which is also in Michigan. They help with, PERS does primarily cats. A Rejoiceful does both cats and dogs for finding them homes, and the money that we're raising is going to be split between both rescues 50-50. And we also, at our location, are accepting if people want to drop off returns, we'll take the cans and bottles back for them and give the proceeds to the rescue, as well as if they have any gently used items for pets that maybe they've grown out of or don't need, we also take those to the rescues as well.
On the intersection of Hardwoods and Green Road, this West Bloomfield house is a Halloween highlight. What a fantastic way to celebrate Halloween while supporting a great local cause, too. If you are in the area, be sure to stop by Hardwoods and Green Road in West Bloomfield so you can check it out and drop in a donation to help our local animal friends. Great cause. And this is a great time to remind you Halloween and trick-or-treat hours have been set in most Oakland County communities. With that being said, in West Bloomfield, the suggested trick-or-treating hours are from 6 to 8 p.m. Kego Harbor and Sylvan Lake, their hours are 6 to 7:30, and Orchard Lake trick-or-treaters can be out from 5 to 8 p.m. Remember, homeowners who wish to participate should leave their porch lights on to signal that they are handing out treats. So if you don't want to hand out treats, keep that in mind. If you do want to keep your porch light on, people may knock on your door. And for those who choose to trick or treat, please be sure to wear bright costumes, carry flashlights, and be mindful of traffic. And traffic, please be mindful of pedestrians. For safety tips and information, visit the National Safety Council's website at nsc.org for more information. Keeping things on the kids locally in West Bloomfield High School students qualified for a national DECA competition recently. They're celebrating a big achievement as 3 of its students at West Bloomfield High School, Stephen, Brady, and Elliot Foreman, are qualified for the DECA virtual business competition, who you see right here in the photo on CivicCenterTV.com. That's Brady Elliot Foreman, and Stephen Katchadorian. And these talented students excelled in virtual business simulations, showing off their skills in marketing, finance, and management. Their impressive work has earned them a spot to represent the Central region at the DECA International Career Development Conference. It's happening in April 2025 in Orlando, Florida. Ooh, congratulations to Stephen, Brady, and Elliot on this amazing accomplishment, and best of luck as they compete against the top students from all across the country. You can see the photos and comment, give your best wishes on the Facebook page of WBSD. Just go to West Bloomfield Schools on Facebook. Search for West Bloomfield Schools. And the kids also looking for things to do, also linking up with local police authorities. One lucky kid had a chance to actually be with Officer Zena Daly, having lunch with her and at the Gretchko Elementary third graders. Michael, you'll see on CivicCenterTV.com wearing a Lion sweatshirt. He was the winner of lunch with a cop, and as a result, he and the rest of his class got to spend the day with Officer Daly. Look at those smiling faces with that police officer supporting our local West Bloomfield community, including playing tag at recess before having lunch. That's a good way to burn some calories before you consume some more, right? You can check out these photos yourself on the West Bloomfield Police Department's Facebook page, West Bloomfield PD, on Facebook. And for our adults who aspire to be in the police industry, I should say, here's a great chance for you to be a PSA, Police Service Aide. West Bloomfield Police Department is now hiring for PSAs. This is a great opportunity for anyone who's looking to start a career in law enforcement and make a positive impact on our local community. As a PSA, you'll work part-time in uniform, handling essential duties like front desk service, report writing, and monitoring prisoners. The starting pay is over $22 an hour with an increase after 6 months. Applicants must be at least 18 years of age or older, available for various shifts as well. If you are motivated and community focused, you can apply by November 6th. Get more information on their Facebook page, of course, West Bloomfield PD, or go directly to the website. Visit wbtownship.org/jobs for more details and to start your application today. More business for grown-ups right here in West Bloomfield. We're talking about Election Day, and this is just a reminder that the main library will be closed for Election Day. While it is open serving for early voting, the West Bloomfield Township Main Library will be closed Tuesday, November 5th for Election Day. However, the West Acres branch will remain open for regular hours. The main library is currently serving as early voting location, so expect higher traffic and parking lot congestion there through Sunday, November 3rd. If you are visiting the main library, plan for some extra time due to increased crowds as voters are taking advantage of this early voting stage here in Michigan. Get more information or just check out the content directly on their Facebook page at WBLIB. And speaking of Election Day, if you're looking for a ride, Smart is making it easier for voters to get to the polls on Election Day by offering free rides across Oakland County, Macomb County, and Wayne counties. All Smart Transit services, including fixed route buses, connector services, ADA, paratransit, and Smart Flex, will be free from midnight to 11:59 p.m. on November 5th. This is the second time Smart has provided free rides on Election Day, showing their commitment to removing barriers for voters. For those who can't make it on Election Day, remember you can still vote early until November 3rd or submit an absentee ballot until 8 p.m. on Election Day. Take advantage of this service and make your vote count. For more information on those bus routes and schedules, go to smartbus.com. civic.org for more information. And as we slowly approach the winter season, we are seeing some temperatures drop to close to freezing at night, which means we may crank up some of that heat, fireplaces and things at our homes. So it's important to start thinking about safety. So with us right here live on The Splash to talk about safety during the winter and the colder months, we have West Bloomfield Fire Captain Tim Tarak. Thank you so much for being here, Captain.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, we appreciate that. So kind of just going straight into it, can you just explain some of the biggest hazards that can come along with just heating up our home in the various ways during the winter and colder months?
Well, one of the big ones we already had it recently happen. When you fire up the furnace for the first time of the year, quite often dust settles on the heating coil. And when that furnace first kicks on, that dust burns up and you get a smell of burning in your home. So be aware that the first couple times you fire up the furnace, you might have that smell that is easy to mistake for a problem, and it's quite normal. Just keep an eye on it. It should dissipate shortly after having it on. So that's probably the biggest one as far as the furnace goes. Yeah. Also, it's a good idea to have a licensed contractor come out and do a cleaning on your furnace before that season comes, just to give it a once over and check everything's working. There's no cracks in the flue and whatnot. That's the biggest one for furnace wise. There's a few other, open flames, candles, this time of year, with, if you have your menorah going, it's great to have, they have LED candle versions of those now. And for Christmas trees too, when you have those going, make sure you have them watered and use LED lights because they cause less heat, all that kind of stuff.
You brought up a good point with the candles. Didn't think about that. Yes, lighting the home with candles. A lot of people like to have seasonal candles during this time, so I can see that also. But having a contractor come out and look at your furnace, that's a new one. I haven't necessarily thought of that, but I'm glad we have that information from someone who's seen it all in many different situations. So we spoke on the furnace. I mean, there's many different ways that people can heat their homes in many different places. What are some of the biggest places in the home that can become hazards from your experience?
A big one is if you have space heaters, not have combustibles around the space heaters. And they should have, a lot of the new ones have a feature where if you kick it or knock it over, when it becomes no longer upright, there's quite often a switch at the bottom that will kick, that'll turn the unit off. If you have an older one that doesn't have that, I recommend upgrading to one of the newer ones that I believe they're standard on all of them now, that if they get jostled, they get turned off. Because we've had fires before start where somebody knocks it over into a pile of rags or some papers, because quite often people have them under their desk. And if they have a home office or even at a place of business, and they'll kick it into a waste paper basket, and it causes a small fire under there, which can lead to bigger issues.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a few different things to be aware of that we're highlighting right now. And with us right here live on The Splash, West Bloomfield Fire Department Fire Captain Tim Tarak, just talking about safety in the homes as we prepare for those colder and winter months right here in the greater West Bloomfield area. So we know that people are also cooking a lot more during these times, especially as we approach Thanksgiving and other holidays. You just talk about fire safety and situations that are situated around cooking and the stove and things of that nature.
Sure. So everyone thinks fire, put water on it, right? I think in recent years it's gotten out pretty well that for a cooking fire, especially a grease fire, water is the biggest thing you don't want to do, because when water hits superheated grease, the whole thing blows up into a giant fireball. And you can go online and see dramatic videos of it at our open houses, which we just had last month. I'm sorry, or earlier in the month for Fire Prevention Week. We used to do a demonstration where we show putting water on superheated grease on a stove outside. We have a stove wired up that was able to show that, and just a massive fireball. So never put water on a cooking fire. The best way, the easiest one that you have right there with you in the kitchen probably, is a cover for that pot. So the key is smother the fires. Don't put water on them. So you have a grease fire, if you're making your gravy for your turkey and you're heating up that grease and it flares up, cover that pot. There are also some commercially available things. One's called the Prepare to Hero. I've seen lots of videos online about that for your grill or your kitchen. It's a fire blanket that smothers the flame. So
Yeah,
the
I've
key
heard
to
of
those fires
those.
take away the oxygen, which extinguishes the fire. Instead, don't put water on it because that is a giant mess.
Seems like a great investment for the households all around, especially with that being said. Keeping that right next or near the stove or in the kitchen area for those types of situations. Thank you for
Yep.
highlighting that, because
Yeah,
cooking is.
they come in a small package and you can get them on Amazon. That's the brand I've heard of is called Prepared Hero, and they're a very nice product.
There we go. There we go. Coming from the professional himself. We love to hear that. I want to pick your brain about something else that we don't necessarily talk about. We highlight smoke detectors all the time. Make sure you update them at least every 10 years. Batteries, make sure they're working. Test them out. What about carbon monoxide and carbon monoxide detectors? Are they a danger around this time? And can you just talk about how we could actually prepare for those also?
Yeah, carbon monoxide isn't so much a seasonal thing, but it's an all the time thing.
Okay.
Some levels of carbon monoxide, the levels we go by, it's measured in parts per million, which is a measurement of a lot of common components of the air are measured in parts per million. So carbon monoxide is one that we're around it all the time. We can be exposed to small amounts. Up to 9 parts per million is considered safe and normal. So I just actually got 2 new CO detectors for my home, CO being carbon monoxide, from Amazon because mine were 10 years old and at their end of life. So one thing is to watch that end of life, and on the back of every detector, whether it be smoke or carbon monoxide, in the very small print, if you read that small print, it'll say, dispose of 7 years out from first going in service, or 10 years out. Some are 10, some are 7, or some variation thereof. But so watch those expiration dates. And also, I recommend having a carbon monoxide detector that has a reading on it that gives you a parts per million. Now, it may not be 100% accurate, but at least it's a number to go by.
Right.
And then you can see it. It can beep. They'll all alert you audibly. And if they give you a reading too, you can kind of know what amount it's picking up. Certainly call us. We'll come check it out and see if there's a bigger issue. Another thing to think about with CO detectors, if I have another minute, is for generators, right? For this time of year or any time of year when it's stormy and windy. If we lose power, generators are great. I have one at my home. Everyone knows to have them outside, certainly, because you've got to watch for that. The exhaust puts out carbon monoxide. So I had a call, a couple years ago, where a gentleman did everything right. He had it outside of his home running in a storm, and he had a lot of CO in his house, and his alarms were going off. Thankfully, he had alarms, and they called us, and I said, "Hey, this is weird. It's outside." And then I noticed a basement window near where he had the generator going, and the basement window was cracked with letting in some air. He didn't think of it, and that was just happened to be near the exhaust. So when you place those those generators, look for open basement windows. Look for any points where air can get in the house, because if it can get in, it will, and it is a danger.
Ooh, that was a great thank you for providing that story and that example, because that's one of those small things, like you said, you may not pay attention to, but yeah, it could lead up to danger. So generators as well, something that could be a danger to the home, but make sure you're taking your extra precautions there. With us right here live on The Splash, talking about safety in and around the home as we prepare for those winter and cold months, from the West Bloomfield Fire Department, Fire Captain Tim Torok. Just a couple more questions real quick, Captain, if you have the time. First and foremost, just very briefly, are there any other things in or around the home that could be flammable that people may not even know about?
Boy. Well, over the years, everything we have is more flammable than it used to be. The blanket that you have at night just to be comfortable and snuggle up on your couch is made of polyester and flammable materials. So everything heats up faster than it used to. The couch is burned now. We call it legacy construction. In this business, we call it legacy construction versus modern construction. So the average home, there are videos online, and you can see those too, but there are videos online that show a cigarette dropped into a couch in 1972 takes 5 minutes to get a full living room going in full flame. And that same cigarette dropped into today's couch with today's furnishings and today's draperies and today's carpet can get that entire room in a raging inferno in 2 minutes.
Ooh.
So it's really crazy how just the components of your house are much more flammable than they used to be because things are cheaper and more readily produced. If they're not cotton, now they're all synthetics. So just keep any heating source that you have, keep those combustibles, give them a distance, let everything breathe, let things air out. If you smell a weird smell, air things out. And if you need to call us, and we're happy to come check things out.
We appreciate that. Lastly, last question before we let you go. Just a couple quick things that we can do to prepare now for family emergencies.
It's great to have a plan. We stress whenever we have families come through or students come through on a tour. Hey, go home and tell your parents check those detectors twice a year when you change your clocks, change your batteries, or at least check your batteries. In recent years, detectors are smoke detectors and CO detectors are going with lithium batteries that have a 10-year life. So you're not really changing batteries so much, but it's certainly a good idea to keep an eye on those and check those dates. When were they purchased? When did they go in service? And are we at those expiration end of life dates? Yeah. And also, God forbid you have an issue in the home, let's plan where we're going to be so that if you have a fire or a fire alarm and little Timmy runs to the backyard and Johnny goes to the street and the parents go to the street, we're not looking, hey, we're missing one. So make sure all the kids, hey family, if we're going to have an issue, let's all meet in this place so we know we're all here. And then when we get there, we know quite often the front of the house is a great spot. So then the first thing we say, hey, is everybody out of the house? And then, we can have a quick answer to that very important question.
Hey, we appreciate all the information that you provided today, and we appreciate your time. Once again, from West Bloomfield Fire Department, Fire Captain Tim Tarot, thank you so much for your time and information, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Take care.
A lot of information and things to keep note of, tips in regards to safety in and around the home as we are prepared for those colder and winter months. So we continue to keep you updated and provide those safety tips from our local people of authority. Keeping things local and talking about things that are coming up, Laker football is getting ready to end the season. And this week in Laker football, we actually spoke to junior lineman Jeremiah Benson, who actually took some time to reflect on a 2024 regular season so far, and Civic Center TV's very own Tyler Keefe has more.
Tyler Keefe, joined by West Bloomfield Lakers lineman Jeremiah Benson, coming off of a 4-5 season. Lakers beginning their playoff campaign this week. Early in the season, before the season even started, OAA Football Media Day. You talked about adversity playing a role and the motivation for this team in 2024. How has that continued or even maybe modified a little bit as you've embraced some adversity during the regular season?
Yeah, we faced a lot of adversity this season, like a lot, and it was just like we just need to come together as a team, and we just kept on beating ourselves, and it really wasn't a competition because we know that we was a good team, and we know that we could have won against every team that we played against, but it was just our mindset going into the season. We came in very high-headed, and we needed to be humbled, and we was, and we're going to take that, and we're going to keep our heads down, and we're going to get through this playoffs, and we're going to hopefully get towards that state championship. So.
And so as the season goes on and you take those highs at the Chippewa Valley game, that blowout at home, the Southfield A&T blowout at home, and then those tough losses. You get outbodied on the road against Groves. You narrowly lose against Rochester Adams. How do you find that balance in evaluating the bad but still being confident in all that good that you did see those 9 weeks?
Yeah, definitely, like as each loss we took, like we was definitely getting better by each game we was taking. We definitely was coming together. Our offense was starting to do good. Our defense was coming together. So as a team, we really was improving as a team, but we just still wasn't doing enough to get that win at the end. But, we definitely are growing as a team, and we're getting, way better. Just our chemistry and all just coming together, especially defensive, offensive-wise. Our offense definitely had picked up a lot since the beginning of the season, and we're definitely improving. So we definitely have a lot to take into the playoffs, so yeah.
Now, improvement, particularly on the offensive side that you've talked about, but even on the defensive side, being able to kind of roll with the punches. How do you think that has come together over the last few weeks in particular, where we have seen maybe a little bit more of that resilience you hoped for early on in the season?
Yes, as a defense, we definitely came together. teams are starting to pick apart our weaknesses, and our weaknesses was definitely the run game this season. I'm definitely going to say we've been picking up on that, especially Home was a big running team, and we shut that down. So our running game defense is really starting to improve like a lot. So the running game is definitely starting to become less of a weakness, and if we get our run defense together, we're definitely going to be an unstoppable team. I definitely believe that.
Jeremiah Benson, one of the most prolific linemen on this Lakers roster in 2024. For him, 50 tackles he's been involved in. 3 out of every 5 of those puppies, he's been the big dog on those tackles, and 2 out of every 3 of those have also been for a loss in the process. So, Jeremiah, as you look at your own personal performance, sometimes when you have those struggles, you look to the upperclassmen, you look to those leaders to kind of fill in those blanks and make those big plays. How have you embraced that throughout these first 9 weeks?
Yeah, our seniors is our leaders of the team. Like, captains or no captains, like our senior, like this day last year. So just as underclassmen, we're doing it all for the seniors. Like this day last year, like we trying to get that state championship ring. Like we came so close last year, and we was all just very upset about how last year ended when we was so close and we was right there at the finish line. So we're doing it for them. Like even though this season hadn't went how it went, like we still got playoffs. Like this is where it really matters. So we know from here on out, we know where our heads is at. Our mindset is good. We staying down. We staying humble. We gonna grind it down. We gonna pound till we get to the state championship. So that's what we're doing it for.
So kind of going back to our first conversation this season, we mentioned earlier on that you and I had talked at OAA Football Media Day about embracing that Southfield A&T semifinal game from last season and that adversity that came from so narrowly losing in that performance. So as you take that into context now going back into the playoffs, how do you focus that in with the younger guys on this team that are maybe having that first look at playoff action to keep them focused and driven each and every week, knowing it's win or go home?
Yeah, we definitely going to take this very seriously. Just as far as discipline, we're going to make sure our team stay disciplined. And our young guys, we're going to make sure that they get in and they know what they got to do just in case, because you never know with this game of football. It's a very dangerous game. You never know who can go out. So we got to make sure all levels, freshmen, sophomore, whoever's on varsity, we got to make sure everybody's prepared and ready for this game. Just like when I came up, my freshman year, we had lost first round of Cavs, but I still took a lot. I was still doing my job, make sure I knew what I knew at practice. So just in case that moment came, that I was ready, and we're gonna make sure that our young guys is prepared too for the big moments, just in case they might have to step up to it.
Lastly, Jeremiah, before we let you go, as you look forward to hopefully a long playoff run that takes you guys all the way to Ford Field, what do you think is going to be that difference maker between being a really good team that advances in the playoffs and being a team that can contend for that state title game on Thanksgiving weekend?
It's kind of different for the really good teams that, kind of already had their spot set in the playoff. They kind of just going in here, probably just thinking that it's probably going to be a breeze for them, just because their season probably went well for them and they probably thinking that they got it easy. But, it's a lot of teams like us especially, I'm going to take it. We know what it feels like to lose. We know that adversity, that hard felt like, when we know we could have won the game, but we didn't. And we taking that to every team. Every team going to feel us. Every team going to feel every loss that we took in the season. And they best believe that they not going to want to play us again, especially after they see us. So I'm confident with that. Just because you had a good season, that doesn't mean nothing when it comes to the playoffs. Everybody's record is 0-0 in the playoffs, and that's our mindset.
And every week, one team will lose a game and go home permanently, and half the field overall left in Division I and all across high school football will see the end of their season. Hopefully that won't be the case for our Lakers coming up on Friday night. Jeremiah, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for that story, Tyler. And the Lakers will be taking on Novi on the road this Friday, November 1st at 7 p.m. for their last game of the regular season. You can get caught up with that full segment of This Week in Laker Football on our website, civiccentertv.com, for more Laker sports action. And there's another team locally that's making a difference but may not get a lot of spectators, but still making our community proud. We'll talk about that coming up. We are live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On cable and the radio. On the web too, and on social media. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home. Honor the many people who offer their lives for our freedom at the 2024 Heroes Appreciation Breakfast. Organizations, charities, and local residents celebrate and congratulate the men and women that ensure our safety and security. Check out our website, civiccentertv.com, to watch the event on demand.
I'm Gina Gregory, president of the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. I'm excited that Civic Center TV has reached 1 million views on YouTube. Congratulations, that's just terrific. We appreciate everything Civic Center does for the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society and the community. For us, they promote and highlight our events. It's awesome to have them available 24/7 on YouTube. I'm Gina Gregory and proud to be one in a million.
Bringing you stories and memories from West Bloomfield. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for joining us. I am your host, Kevin McIntosh. And we're talking about a local team at the Spirit of Grace Church that's making a worldwide impact. It's a team of quilters coming together to make a difference and send out quilts to those in need worldwide. But they actually need your help too. So with us right here live on The Splash, pastor of Spirit of Grace Church, Joyce Partica Stibe. Thank you for being here, Pastor, first and foremost, and getting straight to it. Can you just tell us more about this team of quilters at Spirit of Grace Church and what inspired this global outreach effort?
Spirit of Grace is a congregation that was developed almost 10 years ago from 3 different congregations merging together. Some of them were Lutheran and one of them was Episcopalian. The Lutherans had this quilting group and they decided that it was a ministry that they wanted to continue after the merger. And so these quilters continued to get together. So every Tuesday morning at about 9:30, they get together in our back fellowship hall and they just make quilts and laugh and join in fellowship together.
That is so powerful, the fact that they felt this was important enough to continue even after that type of, acquisition or merger, as you would say. So very interesting to say the least when it comes to that. But like these quilts, like we said, are not only being built right here in West Bloomfield, but they're being shipped off to a bunch of different places. Can you just talk about the impact that you've personally seen from these quilts, not only being built right here in this community, but shipped off to locations that's needed?
So I think one of the great things about this ministry is that these folks really have relied on donations from the community. They are part of an organization called Lutheran World Relief that was founded by Lutherans in the United States at the end of World War II. They decided that they needed to bring congregations together to do things to better the world around us. And so these quilts are sent to places that really need them. So they've gone to places like Turkey and Ukraine. They've gone to places like Israel, and they also stay right here in the United States for disaster victims.
Oh, wow. So we're literally a global type of impact that we're making right here in West Bloomfield, sending it off to different countries, continents, and things of that nature, and to hurricane relief victims, like we said, that happened just recently in the Florida coast of the United States. So thank you for also explaining that too. That's very, very insightful. But one thing that you said that I want to kind of go back to very briefly is the fact that you said this relies heavily on volunteers and donations. Talk about the help that the community can come in regards to donating some items that are necessary to make this happen.
So one of the things that you saw was that the quilters needed some sheets. The sheets provide the backing for the quilts, and those are great. And one of the things that we have learned at Spirit of Grace is we can always count on the community to step in when they're needed.
Yeah.
And so they have provided fabric, they've provided yarn, they've provided sheets, they've provided batting. That goes in between the 2 layers of fabric just to make sure that the quilt stays nice and warm.
Yeah.
And so the community has always stepped in to help. So we really appreciate that.
And it's part of our job right here to not only have you want to explain this, but also put that word out. We are the channel for people. If you do have those gently used or used bed sheets that are still at least in good enough shape so that they can use those, please donate them. And since we are on that, how and when and where could they donate these items if they do have them?
So if you do have those items, our church office is open from 9:30 in the morning until about 2:30 in the afternoon, and then we're also available to collect them on Sunday mornings. The one thing I did forget to mention is that none of these quilters, or only one of these quilters, is a member of the congregation.
Okay.
So this is really a community effort. Some of these folks have come from other congregations. Some of these folks are just people in the community who like to quilt. And so that's another way that we rely on the community.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that, also providing a little bit more context for our quilters out there doing that great job. And with us right here live on The Splash, by the way, from Spirit of Grace Church, we have Pastor Joyce Party-Kastide talking about the quilting group that they have with Spirit of Grace, how they started, what they do, and the impact that they make, not only right here in West Bloomfield, but in the United States and globally altogether. Now, we've already talked about the fact that you don't necessarily do the quilting yourself, Pastor, but I'm pretty sure that you've probably seen or witnessed any information or insight in regards to how the process is done by chance?
So it takes a lot of laughter. These women, I love listening to them from my office. They're always having fun together. So I think that's the first requirement. The second, I've been told it's pretty easy. Some people will sit and cut squares. Some people sew those squares together. Some people will make sure that the bottom sheet and the top part that they've just fit will fit together and that they're the appropriate size. Some people sit and pin so that the edging that needs to be done is done correctly. And some people will tie yarn just as an extra decorative touch to those quilts.
Oh, nice. I would imagine each quilt has its own little flair, and they're all not made the same. Of course, there's different material that we're getting from donations, different colors that we're getting from donations. So, you just find different ways to be creative with it. And like we said, it's an art to it too. It's not only just, quilts, it's art. It's probably some type of therapeutic relief also for the volunteers. With that being said, essentially, on the other end of getting these donations, I know we're sending them out globally, but have you all ever received any thank yous, any feedback regarding, the help or the impact that these quilts have made?
So the thank yous that we do receive go to Lutheran World Relief, because they are the organization that passes these quilts out. They are the organization that have their boots on the ground in places that need them so much. And so a lot of the stories that we have are from where they've gone and how they provided warmth and comfort to those who need it. So a lot of these places are places like we're seeing in Florida and other places that just have been devastated, either by weather or war or whatever else. And so these quilts provide, sometimes you just need that blanket to wrap yourself around, to wrap around yourself. It doesn't need to be cold outside to need that extra layer of comfort.
I promise you it doesn't. I don't care if it's 95 degrees in the summertime. I need a blanket. I always say I like to wrap up like a burrito in my cover, and I just roll around.
So people who are going through those difficult times of losing their homes or losing loved ones or losing all of their belongings also need that comfort.
Good point.
And I think the great thing about these quilts is that each of them aren't just made to go through the motions, but they're made with love and care. There is careful thought that go into what fabrics match together and what colors fit well together. And they're all made with just that extra sense of love that we all need.
Yeah, and a little bit of laughter, like you said before. I just laughed earlier. I just made a quilt just by laughing like that. So, but no, that's a great point, because we can go out and buy blankets. We can go buy quilts. It's a little bit different. I think it has a little bit more value because they are handmade by volunteers. They aren't doing this to get paid. So I think that adds a little bit more value to it that can't even be measured. So great that you even mentioned that and put that into perspective. From you being a pastor of the church, any plans whatsoever to expand the quilting group or do more with it by any chance at all?
They are always looking for new members. They always love the extra hands. They always love the extra help and the extra community that comes with it. I think one of the beautiful things about these quilts is that you're not only seeing them sent across the world to places that need them, but the community that's created right inside the four walls of the church because of these people getting together to share gifts and talents that they have been given to make the world a better place. So if people are looking to be a part of that community, please don't hesitate. If you have been interested in quilting, please don't hesitate to get in contact with us to get their meeting times and any contact information you need.
Yes.
They're excited to expand their group, and we sent 144 quilts this year, and so we're hoping always to increase that number.
144 quilts this year so far. We must have like 50 volunteers making quilts or something like that, right?
Nope, 5 or 6.
What? Wow, my math isn't the best, but on average, that's at least 20 quilts per person, at the very least. That's crazy.
And they all work together. Yeah. We are looking to have a workshop after church one Sunday where these women can come in and show us how they do what they do, so that we can see the process. Because every year in October, we end up putting some of these quilts in the sanctuary and blessing them before we send them on their way. And I think it's just a great thing that these people can come together and do this. I cannot take any credit for their work. I can't even take credit for them being at the church. But I absolutely love the community that they formed and the way they've helped the church just reach out and make the world a better place.
It's a very honorable thing. We got to appreciate that and love that. And as we talking to, I'm thinking about the blankets and the quilts that my grandmother made and crocheted for me when I was younger. Like I said, just doing things like that by hand, it just means so much more. Just a few last things before we let you go, Pastor. First and foremost, once again, any information to give out if anyone is interested in joining, signing up, or becoming a volunteer, finding out more information regarding that.
So they meet on Tuesday mornings at 9:30, and they're usually in the back fellowship hall until around 11 o'clock.
Okay.
It depends on how much fun they're having that day. And if you want more information, you can always get in contact with the church through Facebook, Instagram, email, or just looking at our website.
Perfect. And any other exciting service initiatives or things just outside of this quilting group that Spirit of Grace has going on that you want to tell the community about?
Sure. Spirit of Grace has a diabetic food pantry that serves clients once a month, specifically clients who are in need of diabetic food supplies, because we know those can be expensive. So we're always looking for donations, and on our website there is a list of donations if you're interested in doing that. There's also an Amazon shopping list, so that if you have time just to click on Amazon and send something over to the church, we'll get that and put that in the diabetic food pantry. There's also a blessing box that is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right outside the doors of the church. You take what you need, you leave what you can. And so we don't know how much food is passed through there because some people leave things and some people take things, and it's just there. We also have a couple projects coming up. We'll have Thanksgiving food baskets that we put together for some of the families in West Bloomfield. We get those names through the school system. And then we also have our annual Christmas dinner. We hand out Christmas dinners on Christmas Day. So it's a drive-through system. You tell us how many meals you need, and we give them for you as long as we have them.
So much going on, so many different services, programs. But for the most part, if you're listening on 89.3 Lakes FM or watching on CivicCenterTV.com, just know that it is there to serve the community, and we appreciate you for that. Once again, from Spirit of Grace Church right here in West Bloomfield, Pastor Joyce Partikastai, we appreciate you and your time.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for all the donations and the help that the community has given.
No, absolutely. We love highlighting things like that happening right here in the greater West Bloomfield area that makes a difference worldwide also. Find out more about what they have going on at Spirit of Grace Church on their website, spiritofgrace.church, or go directly to their Facebook, Spirit, the letter O, Grace, on Facebook as well. Going from supporting and advocating for local volunteers to supporting local business people also. There's a local craft show coming up this weekend you may want to attend. The event is actually sponsored by the West Acres Women's Club, which has a long-standing tradition of community engagement. So join us right here live on The Splash is the organizer and coordinator for the West Acres Craft Show coming up this weekend, Jane Eustace. Thank you for being here, Jane. And can you just tell us what inspired the Women's Club, the West Acres Women's Club, to start this craft show and talk about how it evolved over the years?
The West Acres community itself has been around since 1936. The Women's Club established our craft show as one of many events that they organize in our community in 1974. This would be our 50th annual show, but unfortunately COVID took one of those years from us, so it is our 49th. That being said, the proceeds that we raise from the craft show itself go towards scholarships for young members of our community as they move forward to their next adventures in life post high school. We also like to donate a proceed of our portion or our donations to the Michigan Animal Rescue League, a local community nonprofit in our area. They're located out of Pontiac. So those are just some of the things that we like to do to give back to the community as we are so greatly, receiving from them as well.
No, that's good. I didn't even know that, but that's a good effort that you all are doing with the West Acres Women's Club. So love to hear that first and foremost. Great event that we have going on. We said COVID took a year, so yeah, 49 years, still just as great as 50 though. So with that being said, tell us a little bit more about this event, some of the handmade crafts and products that we can expect at this craft show.
Absolutely. So we typically have over 25 vendors. Our attendance from patrons in the local community is around 500, we average. All of our artists are local. They do make everything themselves, handmade. That is something that we look forward to seeing from them because it just brings such a unique experience for our shoppers. We have things ranging from glass, textiles, woodworks. This year we have a couple of people who make dried goods. So just different things that provide a nice touch to those holiday shopping gifts, and it seems a little bit more personalized.
Yeah, I see it like Etsy, but in real person, in real like actual play. Like Etsy is where a lot of creators go, hand make products, they ship them out to people, but you can get that right here in the greater West Bloomfield area. I love that. I love that. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that event. But with us right here, live on The Splash, the organizer and coordinator for the West Acres Craft Show, Jane Eustace, talking about the West Acres Craft Show that'll be Saturday, November 2nd, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I have to make sure I put that information out there. I think I might have forgotten that. But very, very important information, November 2nd, 10 to 4 p.m. Now, how do you go about actually selecting some of the vendors, the artisans, the crafters who will be participating at the event?
So this is a well thought out and curated process that we go through. Our artists start applying in the early spring. We also like to go to other local craft shows and artist markets to kind of spot out different unique talents so that we have a nice diverse section for people to buy from. So that's nice. And it also is nice because then we have good outreach with our community as well to see other cool events that we can become a part of.
And I love that you actually say that, actually going to different locations, spotting out other creators, crafters, artisans. I think that's a great thing to do also, because instead of just sitting and waiting for people to just come to you, sometimes you go out and see what's out there. And then we'd like to invite you here also, add that different flair to our organization and our event. I love to see that creativity. But with the West Acres community specific, what is it about that community that kind of contributed to the long-standing success of this event?
Well, first and foremost, our community event, the West Acres Craft Show, is solely run on volunteers, volunteers from our neighborhood itself. So this is no one is paid. This is my third year as the organizer, and we just enjoy doing it in order to give back not only to the youth in our community, but also the surrounding organizations that we choose to donate to. We also do like just having people come in and experience our neighborhood. We have a very unique neighborhood. Like I stated, it was established back in 1936. We still like and pride ourselves on a lot of these communal aspects about our neighborhood. We are very much so the type of community that's lend your neighbor a cup of sugar. Yeah. So you will see down there, if you choose to come and attend our event, most of, if not all of the volunteers are from the West Acres community itself. It's just a nice way that they can give back as well. So, and we do that in a multitude of ways in our neighborhood.
Putting the unity in community. That's what we love right there. Man, that's a good thing. I love to hear that too, because like we said, that unity, that communication coming together with the same goal, everyone having that same energy, same goal, that's what makes it go. That's what makes it go. And that being a great testament to it. With that being said, I got to kind of ask you this now. You emphasize the fact that there's volunteers coming to do this job, including yourself. So you're not being paid. I would imagine the motivation is completely different. So can you talk about some of the challenges that you all face putting this event together and how you all overcome them?
Well, just like any volunteer-based program, we do have our turnover of volunteers. We always have our tried and trues, but with that, because we are a neighborhood, people move. We get new people who want to come in, who want to help, and they might take the mission in a little bit of a different direction. While those are no challenges, we actually find that to be a wonderful thing, the inclusion of new ideas from people who decide that this year they maybe have more time on their hands and they would like to come and contribute that to us.
Okay. So I can absolutely see that. Overall, it's, like you said, a turnover of different people that's coming in and out. So that kind of speaks to a system that has to be created. Rather than one person having complete control of everything and calling the shots, there's a system and you have people rolling in and out of it. That keeps it, like you said, going for 50 plus years or 60, 70 plus years since 1936 when the organization started. So I love that you actually bring that into perspective also. With us right here live on the Splash, West Acres Craft Show organizer and coordinator Jane Eustick, talking about the upcoming craft show Saturday, November 2nd, 10 a.m., 4 p.m. West Acres Craft Show happening in our greater West Bloomfield community. Over 500 visitors attending each year. That is kind of crazy. How does the craft show create a sense of community engagement between the attendees and the artists?
Amongst us with the artists, I do believe that with our advertising of them, people get to kind of see their work ahead of time and they know, oh, I really would like to go see that artist specifically. And then in the, times they're walking around, they get to kind of see other people and other works that maybe bring them interests that, once again, are so unique. It's so unique, like you already commented, very Etsy style, but you get to directly work with the creator themselves, which I think is a very cool, very unique process about our craft show. They have a lot of time to be able to sit there and explain their craft and how much time and effort and energy they put into it. And I just think that brings that extra little bit of holiday cheer when you're giving a gift to someone that has just had all the love and energy put into it in order to creating it itself.
I agree with that. Because like you said, giving you the opportunity to talk to the creator, talk about their process. You can actually, maybe even at the time, see how they make or craft some of these different things. So I think that makes the experience so much more better. Only a few questions before I let you go. Future plans for the 50th anniversary next year. Anything that you can kind of give us now?
We have a lot of ideas in the woodwork. These are ever evolving, and like I said, with our neighborhood as it grows and just different volunteers, I am looking forward to hearing some ideas from our community about how we can make the 50th year extra special for not only ourselves as a nice tribute as to something that we've been able to do for our community and also the extending community, but also to just to, the excitement of 50 years.
Yeah, 50 years, that's nothing light. You got to celebrate that. I completely understand. All right, well, we want to thank you for your time, Jane. Before we let you go, lastly, once again, give out the details of the event, requirements, registration, fees, anything that goes along with that.
Absolutely. So our show is, as was stated, is on November 2nd from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. It will be located at 3700 West Acres Drive, West Bloomfield. That is our community center. And there is a $3 door admission fee. And like I stated, some of those proceeds go to the Michigan Animal Rescue League, and some of them will go back to our community young youth members who will be going on as scholarships.
Perfect place to land the plane. And once again, a great cause thrown on with a great event. And we want to thank you again for your time and information and for putting that together. Once again, from the West Acres Craft Show, organizer and coordinator Jane Eustace, thank you again for your time.
No, thank you very much for allowing us to speak on our amazing community and the events that we host. We really appreciate it, and we hope to see everyone there.
And once again, that event will be this weekend right here in the greater West Bloomfield area. You want to find out more about what's going on Saturday, November 2nd, go to westacrescraftshow.com or visit their Facebook at West Acres Craft Show. Also, if you're watching on CivicCenterTV.com, I am changing my outfits very fast. And if you're looking for a fun way to connect with neighbors in Sylvan Lake, head on to the community center for game night happening tonight and every Wednesday at 6:30 throughout the year, except for that second Wednesday of each month. There's something for everyone. Playing cards, mahjong, euchre, other different types of games there. And if you don't know how to play mahjong or euchre like myself, there are volunteers there that can help you learn how to play. So make sure you come with a great attitude, and coming with a friend is optional. Feel free to reach out for more. Feather Buchanan is who you want to reach out to. Email Feather at feather.buchanan@gmail.com or just go to sylvanlake.org for more information. As we all know, if you are taking care of business in Greater West Bloomfield, early voting is in full swing right here as we approach Election Day, and there's a lot of activity going on in our local polling places. Civic Center TV's very own Jake Schaff has the story.
Election Day is quickly approaching here in the four communities, but already plenty of voters have started to make their voices heard thanks to the early voting process, which is already underway here in West Bloomfield Township. And as those who work for the township will tell you, have already achieved some incredible numbers in terms of turnout.
So we now have early voting, which is a fairly new method for people to vote with. And we have seen for this election, people are absolutely engaging at almost record numbers. We have had each day since it began on Saturday, more people than we had all 9 days in either of the other two elections that early voting was available. So we are seeing an increase in the numbers participating with early voting. I don't believe that will necessarily translate into an increase in voter numbers. I think we're going to probably see the anticipated turnout for this election. However, I think we'll see a change in how they're voting. We are seeing a decrease from 20 in the number of absentee ballots cast, but some of that is because in 2020 was the height of the pandemic. So you're seeing some that are going to shift back to their precinct and some that are going to actually participate in early voting. And I based on the numbers we're seeing in early voting, a lot are finding that that's an engaging way to get involved.
I'm seeing a lot of people turning in their absentee ballots. We've gotten probably about 14 or 15,000 back already, and early voting is having a great turnout so far, about 800 or 900 people per day. We weren't expecting this high of a turnout, so that's a really great thing.
What do you think are some of the biggest contributing factors as to why these numbers are going up right now?
More engagement. People are more involved. They want to be part of the process. They want to get their vote out there.
I really liked the option of voting early. It kind of gives you flexibility on, and not just limited to just one day. I, in particular, think it was nice because I had to work all week, the week of election week, so I think it's great. It was crowded, but that is a good thing. So, yeah, I really liked it.
I think the flexibility of having a week or so before the election to choose which day is most convenient for you as opposed to just one day. I think that does nothing except to encourage young voters to get out and vote. So I think it's a really positive thing.
It's a wonderful option for if anyone's going out of town, if anybody works a long shift, a nurse, a firefighter, anyone who can't get there on election day. It provides a great opportunity for it. But you know, with this entire election, Jake, what I would tell people, pack your patience. And the election workers are here to make sure that everyone who is here in time does get to vote. So even if they're in that line at 4:30 and there's still an hour line, they will get to vote.
With such high vote turnouts already, it'll be interesting to see just how much of an impact early voting plays with West Bloomfield and beyond. And we'll see if the numbers continue to increase once election season rolls around again. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff, and please don't forget to vote.
Thank you for that story, Jake. And for more information regarding early voting and election day voting right here in West Bloomfield, go to the website wbtownship.org for more information. We love being the source for everything that you need right here in the greater West Bloomfield area, and I am happy to be part of it. Once again, my name is Kevin McIntosh, and per usual, we are live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on CivicCenterTV.com and 89.3 Lakes FM.